looked like nothing was like that crazy. It was
Yeah.
all typical questions I would expect.
Yeah. So, um, all right, we are here. Commissioner Joe Pizarro for TPR Sports Keeper League, graciously met by one Evan Ogull, owner of the Ogull football team, currently sitting at number one in the standings, in the playoffs. Ogull, how are you today?
I am good. I am good. I'm using my work setup. So you see my actual company background here when I'm on this. Rocking my blackout Jets hat because our season has basically been blacked out from this point on. Those of you who want to watch them on TV, God bless you. I will care far more about what's going on the fantasy side than the Jets side, but we're good. We're
All right.
doing well. We're ready to rock.
Love that. All right. Well, again, congrats on a great regular season. Secured the bye, and you're in the bye to the semis. How have you been feeling about on your off week? Have you been spending your, kind of leisure, leading up to the semifinal matchup?
It was definitely nice not really having to care and stress about it. Spent a few days in Miami. Fortunately, it rained the entire time I was there, which is perhaps a foreshadow of what's coming. Was gonna say I was kind of like Odell Beckham on his bye week since that is my boy, the original OG OBJ. But when he went to Miami in his bye week, things didn't turn out too well for him, so I'm not even gonna bring that up.
All right. Well, it's at least you got some R&R and some, stress relief, and didn't black out, leading into the games as you
Yeah,
did 2 weeks
no,
ago.
there have not
Um,
been any no blackouts since you saw me last.
All right, but I mean, your team's really kind of come together this season. You started off, 1-3. You're struggling to put up points, but you made some big in-season trades. You're in all-in mode right now. So, I mean, what do you attribute your turnaround, and what do you attribute your team's success to this season?
Well, I find it kind of funny because you and I are in very similar positions, right? We're each, I think, we're 1-3 at one point. We're getting a ton of shipping talk, mainly from people like Brandon, who thought that we were each destined for the toilet bowl. But similarly, you and I each, we believed in our roster. We know we drafted a good team. We know we had a lot of pieces on the roster, just had to be patient. So patience was huge. I know I have quite a few guys in the roster that had slow starts to the year and really turned it on. Guys like Debo Samuel, for instance, finding a tight end in Evan Ingram. Brees Hall even had a really slow start to the year. Splitting time has come on and been pretty good. So patience has been solid. I mean, a lot of these guys I drafted with good value. Um, Timely performances. Jordan Addison, 2 big games for me when I needed him when I didn't have my other receivers in there. So it's just been obviously staying healthy has been a big factor to it, but solid roster management, patience, and just seeing it through and putting together a pretty good team. The in-season trades was pretty uncommon for me, I'd say. Not going to say the Eckler trade has worked out. That guy's a fucking asshole, but Josh Allen is a bona fide stud. Even when that guy only throws the ball 11 times in a game, he still puts up 17, 18 fantasy points. Love having him on the squad, and obviously Evan Ingram has been huge for me in the last couple of weeks, and hope that continues. So,
Yeah,
got
no,
to just attribute to a combination of things.
yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, standard playbook of having good solid keepers, having a couple good draft picks, and again, augmenting the holes with big in-season trades. Very unlike you, kind of dipping into draft capital for next year, but the finished product leading into now is kind of, I think, what has you sit, at that number one spot right now. So,
Also,
um,
built a solid roster, only trading away a second round pick while still getting back a sixth round pick. So no first gone, no fourth gone, no sixth gone. So slightly different than a couple of the other teams that have done it this year. So some draft capital.
it's a very good point. It's not a complete all in and throw next year out of the way. So very good draft capital management, team management, and again sitting pretty where you're at now. So, but I got to go back to the start of the season. You did cause some stir in the league, regarding super teams. You had doubts. You had questions, even should I even show up to the draft? Should I compete? But you find yourself as the number one seed going into the playoffs. Some may say you might have built a super team yourself. So, I mean, what are your opinions on super teams in the TPR Sports Keeper League?
Yeah, I've had to eat my words a few times in the group chat for that, and already admitted it, I think, on 3 or 4 different occasions. So thanks for bringing up good times here. Yeah, I mean, I still don't love some of the abilities for the offseason trades and the way the teams can actually be built out. But at the end of the day, we've seen it time and time again. Really, the only exception in which a super team from the start just completely ran the table was Brett when he did it a few years ago. But we've seen several other super teams completely, even miss the playoffs at times like Mikey. But injuries happen. You still got to play out the games. Yeah, I certainly have walked back my statements on that from that point. And yeah, that's pretty. I'll leave it at that.
All right, that's fair. It's I'll, as a commissioner, always happy to see things play out in this. I think a lot of us had those similar thoughts, but it's, I think even last year, when Brett had his team, Jimmy kind of started off with a big trade and like challenged people, and it's, Brett still won. But we look at this year, it was a lot of competition. But appreciate your insight into that. But I had to bring that up. But as an original member, of the league, you've seen the whole life cycle from start to finish. We've made a lot of changes, always trying to improve. What would be one thing on your mind, thinking about the league as a whole that you would kind of change for the better?
Defense.
One word answer.
I would love to just eliminate defenses in general, but at the very least, limit the defensive scoring. Having a team defense put up 28 points against you and the rest of the entire roster doesn't put up 25 at any one single player is quite frankly horse shit. While I do agree it does take more skill to draft a defense than it does a kicker, that's why the daily fantasy games have stuck with defenses but eliminate kickers. It's just too erratic. It's not enough of a consistent play, and I don't think that an entire team defense should be a top scorer. Now, I can fairly compromise and not say let's eliminate defense, but there should be a limitation to the amount of points they can score. Team defense should not be your team's top scorer for a week. That's just asinine. So that's the one thing I would change.
No, I again appreciate it. Definitely going to be a topic in the offseason that we'll discuss, whether it's a complete elimination, an adjustment, or nothing. But again, it's definitely something that you've been loud and clear on since day one. So not surprised at that answer there. But let's look ahead. We got the semifinal matchup. It's you and I going up against each other. As you look at the matchup, as you look at your team, what are going to be some of your keys to success to kind of make it back to the finals?
I mean, I'm actually going to look at the roster on my phone right now, so I can just a quick little breakdown of it. But I mean, I think, look, if you're just looking at it from a non-biased perspective, you would have to be the favorite in this. I think you have the higher ceiling, despite the fact that I put up nearly 180 points. Actually, 181, I think I put up 2 weeks ago. That was an aberration to what my team's been doing the majority of the year. I do think you have a higher ceiling, so I am quite worried about that. Keys to, I'm going to obviously have to, I'm almost speaking like I'm defending your guys, but I would have to hope that we can get limitations to the ceilings on big plays from people like Tyreek Hill, people like Alvin Kamara, TJ Hawkinson. Look, I think it's going to come down to my team has to be consistent. I've seen some big scores from certain guys and really low scores. I can't have Breece Hall and Austin Eckler combining for 11 points. That's just not going to get the job done against a team like yourself. Obviously, I've seen consistency over the last month. Amon-Ra all year. Debo's been fantastic the last month. Engram's been great. Rachaad White's been consistent pretty much the entire year. I expect it out of them. So I really think the keys to our matchup are going to be, what do I get out of the Eckler, Breece Hall running back stack there? And then what do you get out of your big players like Tyreek Hill, Alvin Kamara? Because if they put up a 40 spot, which we all know is incredibly possible, I'll be in for a very long day. But if I can contain the big plays out of your big players, I think we should have a really close matchup.
Yeah, and I think your big weeks have been kind of consistent contributors throughout, some of your big scores. So it definitely, kind of makes sense. And I'm with you too. I got some injuries, things to monitor, all that kind of stuff. But I think you're kind of spot on with some of the keys there. So should be an exciting matchup. But outside of yourself and trying to get back to the finals and obviously compete for a championship, what else are you most looking forward to this week or in the last 2 weeks of the season as we kind of close out the 2023 season?
Other than this league, it's not football related because this is literally the only thing I care about football wise because my Jets are a fucking embarrassment. I would say the New York Rangers and the Philadelphia 76ers playing and hopefully continuing to get good. And then hopefully the Yankees signing one not to be named Japanese pitcher. That's what I'm going to look forward to over the next week or two.
All right. No, same here. I've been refreshing, my feed on Yamamoto and stuff like that. So definitely kind of hoping for a nice Christmas present for us Yankee fans. But pleasure. I appreciate the time, Evan Ogull. Good luck this week. I'm sure we'll try to catch up and see if we could even watch some of the games together. Being local here in Jersey City, New York. But appreciate the time. You are the first interview of this series, and we definitely kick it off great. So thank you. Best of luck. All right.